Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're here at Ghost and Friends. A little bit different segment today. A lot of college talk on this channel. Today we're switching it up with some NFL discussion. And with that, I'm going to welcome a very, very, very good friend of mine, more like a brother, Jonathan Rosenauer. Welcome to the channel, friend.
What's going on, man? Yeah, it's been like, what is it, 13 years now? We've known each other.
Yeah, man, a long time. Both of us, time in College Station. This is where we met in the restaurant world. Jonathan's brother and I are good friends as well. Jonathan's his best friend in life. Him and I are good friends as well. So this, like when I say brother, Jonathan is a brother. Extremely excited to have him on the channel talking a little NFL. As you can tell, Jonathan's a little bit of a Cowboys fan, so I had to get the old CJ Stroud background for him here.
Man.
We had the Dak countdown. But Jonathan, talk to me a little bit about what your impressions were from Dallas's Week 1 opening win up in Cleveland. There's a lot of public money, not that we have to talk about that, but a lot of people loved the Browns in that game. I never really understood why, but what were your impressions from your Week 1 win, Bub?
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely talk lines and everything. A lot of people have probably seen that graphic that's going around that had, I think it was like 8 or 10 sports, broadcasters, media people all picked the Browns. Across the board, everybody thought the Browns. A lot of money was on the Browns. The defense was looking good. Fresh start, like Deshaun's getting back in the game and everything. And of course, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm delusional, and we'll get into that a little bit. But you got to have fun with it, man. I did not expect the game to turn out the way it did. I thought it would be like 24-20. I did truly, honest to God, think Cowboys would pull it off. Dak with the contract, CD with the contract, just a lot on the line. And of course, we and boys, this is our year, right? Every year. But
Every year.
Yeah, that's right. But I did not expect, what was it, 33-17? Am I right on that? But that late touchdown, garbage time, whatever.
Right.
Like, wasn't ready for that. And so my debate, just as a sports fan in general, is it that we're that good as the Cowboys, or is it that the Browns are that bad? Because they did not look good, and we looked really good. So maybe it's both.
And not to tie it into a college comparison, but Texas went to Michigan, gave a very late garbage time touchdown, and a lot of people are left with that same question. And I'm just tying that to say that I understand the situation because it's a little bit of both. You have to credit Dallas, and you also have to look at Cleveland and be like, man, they probably did a lot of things wrong, but Dallas is a team that was right there and kind of forced their hand in some of those issues. Tell me if there's anything that you were most pleased with about the game. It could be, a particular player. It could be run game, pass game, pass rush, whatever it may be. What would that be?
Oh, okay. So as an Aggie, first of all, I don't want to go down this, but your Longhorns look dang good. Like, there's just no doubt about that. But speaking of Longhorns, for me, the number one thing for us as a team was defense. But man, Overshawn, he looked good. And everybody's talking about the closing speed on that one particular play. But for him to come back, it just overall, like, I'm a sports nerd. Like, I like to watch and listen. I was super disappointed in Tom Brady. We can talk about that. And, like, of course, as a Cowboy, Tony Romo, but just good broadcasters. One of them, I don't remember the guy. I'm trying to remember. He said it best. We watch the game through the broadcaster's eyes. And so they're interpreting it. We're kind of hearing what they're saying and trying to watch it. And that's how I'm going about it as well. So Overshawn, like, shining moment for me. For him to come back, I am pumped to see him play that well. And then overall, our defense. Dak didn't put up amazing stats. Like, nobody. Of course, Zeke hurdling a guy. Like, there's little moments. But, man, defense, Overshawn, just shined. Overall, those are the top two things for me.
Yeah, I mean, you know this. I know this. My favorite team on Sunday is typically whoever Dallas plays. I'm very new to NFL fandom. We can talk about that in a minute, a little bit of drama regarding that. But to watch DMO play play for Dallas and to see him doing the same things he did in the Big 12 at Texas. And that's just kind of, he's a football player. He gets out there. He doesn't really have a set position he's just very unique, and you can do a lot of different things with his skill set. And so, yeah, man, it was really, really cool to see him kind of have a big impact on that game. Good kid, East Texas guy. You know how I feel about those guys.
Come on.
And so, yeah, exactly. And so he's a huge piece, man. That's that defense you talk about. Guys like him, guys like Micah, who are a little bit different. And obviously, it's a long season. You got to stay healthy. And then once again, coming into the season, you want to be clicking at the right times and everything. Philadelphia is very obvious as far as competition in the NFC East goes.
Yeah.
Do you have any respect at all for Washington or New York's rosters this season?
New York, no. Short answer, easy. Like, oh God, my barber's a Giants fan. Shout out to Felix, but poor guy. Like Daniel Jones, I felt like he's Connor Wegman, going back to college last week against Notre Dame. Like, brother, you should have just spiked the ball every play. Like, come on. They just don't look good. I feel bad for Neighbors and just the whole roster. Like, I don't know. In general, I like parity. I like to see just like tight games and whatever. But man, they don't look good, and it's almost like let them dig their grave and figure it out. Washington, of course, got a lot of Cowboys people, and for me, honestly, no hate. Like, let them do their thing. Dan Quinn's been in that. Like, you have to expect he was going to leave at some point. I'm glad that we kept the people we did. We got some good people. I really wish for the best at the Commanders. And honestly, I do think for them, like my bold prediction, I'm thinking like a 6-win season, probably. Jaden showed some flashes. I think they've got some talent on there. I think they've brought in some different pieces and people, so they're going to figure it out. I don't think they're going to be amazing. I'm afraid to say they might beat us once, just for whatever reason. I feel like we're not going to show up.
Yeah, rivalries.
Well, yeah, for sure. So Washington, kind of middle of the road. Philadelphia, of course, they're the Eagles. They've been good, but man, I just don't see a world in which we don't win the NFC East this year. Like that's kind of the long and short of it all. I think Philadelphia is going to be good. 10-win season, maybe 11. I don't know. And of course, maybe I'm just a dumb Cowboys fan, but I just really don't think anybody's going to compete with us this year. Like, I'm not saying we're going to 14, 15 wins, but 12, maybe 13. Like,
I mean, that's an A+ season. As far as the schedule, I'll be honest, I haven't dove into your schedule, but when you're talking about playing 2 games against all the NFC East teams, so that's 4 games right there along with New York and Washington, you're thinking, to reach that win total that you kind of have your eyes on, 12, maybe 13, you probably have to go 3-1 at minimum in those games.
Sure.
What's the cross divisions? Like what other divisions are y'all playing from, like the AFC? Did you play everybody?
I'm with you. I haven't looked either. I'm not the guy that looks ahead because honestly, I don't care. Like, who are we playing this week? That's what I care about.
It's trying to go 1-0, man. I can respect that. It looks like you're going to have the AFC South, which I believe I
feel good about that.
Yeah, Ravens, Steelers, Browns, Bengals. So obviously you already had the Browns.
Yep.
Those are Steelers, Ravens, Bengals.
Saints.
Those are Saints. So if they all have Saints on there, so you have the NFC South and the AFC South, which is Panthers, Bucks, Saints, Falcons in the old NFC. Much more doable than the AFC South, and that's still very doable for you guys. I don't think that.
Yeah.
With Pittsburgh, you're going to be a favorite in that game. With Cincinnati, it's probably going to be pretty even. You guys have the better defense, could easily be favored. Better O-line.
I was going to say we're probably talking 2.5. Maybe 3.5 on that line, like for Bengals. The Ravens, it's probably going to be closer to like 1, like a push.
Yeah, that's going to be that's a fun schedule, really. My favorite division in all of football is the AFC South. It's always been that way. I absolutely love Steelers, Ravens, Bengals.
Yeah.
The Browns, they're a little more mundane. Your team name's the Browns, but at the same time, I respect as they play in that tough division, and they've held their own and had playoff appearances, obviously. But that's a fun schedule. I like that. And then the NFC South with the Saints, Falcons, Panthers, Bucks, like you can. For me, it's like, hey, that's another 3-1. You know what I mean? So just
Right
kind of,
now, it looks like it. Yeah.
if you could go 2-2 versus the AFC South, which you've already won one game, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you could start really easily looking at getting to that win total that you're talking about, and that's with 2 losses in that division. So I mean, I understand why y'all are confident, man. At the same time, is there a part of you that feels like it could be overreacting to week one? And I've definitely had to talk to a few Texas fans about us
Yep.
overreacting to a Michigan win because they're bad. You know, you just got to call it how it is.
Sure.
So do you think that part of there's some Cowboy fans overreacting to a week one win or no?
Yeah. So this is where I'm the grounded reality kind of person. Because we joke every year. This is our year. And that's why everybody hates us, because we say it every year. And yes, there's a part of it that is potentially true. Like we have our history, but in my lifetime, almost the entirety of my lifetime, we haven't done anything. Like that's why I'm a fan, is because I grew up watching good Cowboys. And now it's like, what is going on? You know, we
Yeah.
just kind of made our way through the late 90s and 2000s, and then Romo showed flashes, and now Dak showed flashes. And it's like every year we're set up for disappointment. So for me, I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm an Aggie. I'm a Spurs fan. And then I'd say I'm an Astros fan because that's the first game I've went to and the team I followed. Like, so I've lived through disappointment, but I've also
Yep.
lived through shining moments. You know, I
Yeah.
know history and all that. So all that to say, yes, I'm scared because it happens every year. We're like, this is our year. We got Dak back. And we could talk about that. We got CD. You know, Micah's still looming. Trayvon's back. And Carson or Kaysen, I forget how to say, Kalen Carson, the rookie cornerback about number 21. Like he's looking good. You know, we've got a lot of people. DMO, you know, he's looking good. That's what scares me. Is we always find a way to over overproduce. You know, all the shining stars and literally everything preseason, and we make really good strides during the season, and then we choke or crazy injury, which a lot of people have. You know, whatever happens, it's like we always find a way. So that's why I'm just cautiously optimistic.
At the same time, man, you have to be so damn good to go win a Super Bowl. Like, and
Nah,
the big time. I mean, you do. You do have to be good. I mean, and this is what I'm going to lead into this question with that saying that. But is Dak the guy to get you there? Because you're talking about Patrick Mahomes. You're
yep.
talking about Joe Burrow playing in a Super Bowl, obviously several years back. It's been elite quarterbacks or San Francisco with a very elite run game, passing game,
Yep.
great tight ends, hybrid, Debo Samuel who can come out of the back. I mean, you can do a lot of different things there. Obviously, they hang their hat on defense. You as a Cowboy fan, I know there's probably a lot of different discussions and feelings about this topic, but what are your thoughts on Dak? Is Dak a guy that you trust?
Man, so okay, so a lot of good points there. It is hard to get to the Super Bowl, but it's not hard to win. Well, to get to the playoffs, and as a Cowboys fan, Cowboys team, it shouldn't be hard for us to win a playoff game. For whatever reason, Green Bay always finds a way to get us. Like, and maybe this is the delusion talking. We should be going to second, third round every year. Like, that's no big deal. And you know this, growing up in Beast, Texas, there are certain schools that expect to get to semis, state finals every year. And if
Every
you
year.
don't, you're a disappointment. I grew up in a small town where if we made the playoffs, we were happy. Anything beyond that was great. That's not life as a Cowboys fan. That's life as a Texans fan. If you make the playoffs, you're happy. Now, yes, I love me some Texans. They're trending in the right direction. We'll talk about them. So I think that's going to shift. But for Dak, you've seen these stats. You've seen people talk about it. The teams that make it outside of the Chiefs, they don't have the highest paid quarterback. You can look at however many years back, the highest paid player on the team was not the quarterback. And even Patrick Mahomes' recent contract is looking like a major discount. And it was a discount when he signed it. So for Dak to come out and get 60 million, I don't think he's proved he's worth it. The problem is that the market in a year, 2, maybe 3 years, the contract's going to be a discount. And so it's hard to
That's fair.
say, Yeah. Well, again, we don't know media rights and whatever. We'll see what happens with salary cap. But I think it was the safest thing we could have done. I don't know if it's the best thing. It's hard to say that, yes or no. I love Dak as a person. I do think he's a great quarterback, honestly. And you can trash him all you want. If you look at stats and everything, he really is good. Like easily top 10. I would argue top 5, shown flashes of top 3. Like that's my realistic take on Dak. I'm not happy about the contract because I don't think our current setup is going to get us to the Super Bowl, to the NFC Championship. I don't remember who it was. A year or two ago, some sports guy. I've always remembered this now, stuck to it. He said you can't have an average quarterback and an average coach. Somebody's got to be great.
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy went to the Super Bowl with an amazing quarterback. Well,
Yeah.
used to be. And then so now he looks great, but he's not. So then you put him on the Cowboys. Dak is above average. Mike is average, above average, in my opinion. That's where you're going to be. Somebody's got to shine, and it's got to be your stars. Yes, we've got some good people, but man, I don't know. I love Dak. Congrats to him. I think it was a good move. I just don't know if it was the best move. But then you go back to what could have been better. That's why I'm like, I don't know. It's a good thing.
I mean, I get a lot of the complaints and concerns. You know, you want to win, of course. You like making the playoffs, of course. But Dak is going to be ultimately, and the Cowboys for that reason, or for that, they'll be judged by what they do in the playoffs. And so whatever
Yeah,
Dak does in the playoffs is what people will remember. And
exactly.
like you said, it's time to go get it done for him. And the concerns and talks will only be a little bit louder. Are you concerned about the running back position here, like our buddy, aka Mr. Bain?
So I'm a fan of 3 down back. Like I love that old school stuff, but I do know that moving forward, it's going to be better to have multiple. I think we took it way too far. Like a lot of these guys could be potential starters on some teams, but definitely the 1 and 2, 1A, 1B, whatever kind of thing. Rico has shown flashes of being great. Zeke in the past, of course, I still think he's got some juice in him. I do think Deuce has kind of that um, Darren Sproles feel a little bit to him, a little old school there. And then we got Dalvin, which where was he? Who knows? It's like somebody's got to get some carries here. But yeah, we need a guy, and they need to figure out who the guy is going to be. That's why Pollard and Zeke work so well. Zeke was slower, tougher. Pollard was quicker, shiftier. So your
Yeah.
timing and everything was different. You had to play him different. And so we haven't shown that that's going to be the case yet.
Are you excited about Ezekiel being back in Dallas?
Honestly, yeah. There's a stupid clip, and this, this. Like if you're doing well in life, you're just performing better in general. Like you're happier, you're more relaxed, whatever. There's that little clip when Zeke is walking by Dak in practice. I don't know if you've seen this, and he kind of like lifts his butt in the air at Dak, and Dak like taps him on the butt or whatever. And it's some
Yeah.
stupid bro moment, but it's like they're back. Like Zeke is comfortable. That's why I think he's going to play well. I don't know if we're talking 1,000-yard season. I'd say
Right.
my hope would be like 808 touchdowns, something like that. Like that'd be a good year for me.
Yeah, I had to ask because, like you said, the boys are kind of back together, and obviously their rookie campaign was pretty dang cool for Dallas. But now I saw a video last night. Shout out Landon Holyfield, I believe, out of Inside Texas. I was just scrolling through late at night, and he made a video and he does great videos, but made a video regarding some weird and kind of eerie things that were going down regarding the whole Tua thing, and how there was a lot of comments before this whole injury about Dallas kind of needing another running back. Mike McDaniel was part of the crew that drafted Trey Lance in San Francisco. I don't want to just ride his video, so go check it out. I'll send you the clip of it. But I don't know. It made a lot of sense, and started to think like, okay, right now in the situation that Miami's in, they're going to need a quarterback. You still have a ton of talent on that offense. But But before we talk about any potential deals or maybe moves, I don't know if you watched last night. I did watch last night. I was trying to. We had a show going on, but I was trying my best to watch, and absolutely heartbroken for Tua Tagovailoa. Almost. I'm just, me. I'm an emotional guy. I almost had a tear in my eye because I just know the amount of work that it takes to get to that spot. I know how I love Mike McDaniel. I'm a huge fan. One of my favorite coaches in the league, just because I think he's a player's coach who's also really, really damn good at his job as far as scheming, and they do really, really well as far as putting that roster together. But what were your thoughts when you watched that whole situation go down, or maybe you saw it later, saw the clips of it? And my ultimate question is as far as Tua Tagovailoa goes, you think he should ever play ball again?
Yeah, so I did not actually get to watch it live. I was busy getting ready for an open house in Osing Bay. Shout out Texas Realtors.
Hey.
But yeah, I watched it later, and I had the exact same thought. Like, I don't show my emotions well, but that broke my heart, man. Like, he's been through a lot. He's got a guy who believes in him. There's been a lot of talk about that this offseason of how Tua is just kind of coming to his own because of Mike McDaniel. I'm a massive fan as well. Like, the dude is legit. And I love the comparison pictures of pre-Miami and then getting to Miami after, a couple of years.
He embraced it, baby.
Yeah, he did. But I watched that. And so there's the part of me that's like, get back out there and prove them wrong. But then there's a part of me that's like, you're a human, like, brother, a friend, a man first before you're a football player. And I'm genuinely concerned for your life. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to ruin the clip for everybody too much, but of course it was him and DeMar Hamlin. And so that's even like bigger ordeal there. And Al Michaels, like the most bonehead comment afterwards. I don't know if you saw that. They made the tackle and he said something like, "Oh, you tackled DeMar Hamlin. Like, we know the situation there," or whatever the comment was. I'm like, come on, bro. Like, don't reference too soon.
Yeah.
But anyway, so as soon as Tua, I guess, like kind of rolled or settled, like there's an old play. I think it was was it Cal and Oregon State maybe? Javid Best throwing it back a little bit, and he jumped up, corner touchdown, and as soon as he hit, he like froze up. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And it wasn't that bad, but it kind of looked like he was just like gone. And one of his teammates said he could tell he wasn't there. That's bad. Like, this isn't just knocked his head, we're going to play it safe. Like, each time it's bad for him. And at what point do you say this just isn't like worth the risk? Like, the machismo, and this, as a man, like, hey, sorry, I am not going to put my life on the line for any amount of money, especially now. And you know this too, like having kids, having a wife, family, like that's more important than anything. So yeah,
that's exactly how I feel about it all. I enjoy watching Tua play football. I loved him at Alabama.
Great player. Yep.
Great player. A lot of fun to watch. Obviously he's gone through this before. That might have been even scarier. And then, he came back a little too early. Happens again. It's a lot of concussions here in a short time frame. And you start to worry, obviously, about the long-term effects. And if it's me, man, I'm out. I'm done.
Sure.
And if I'm the Miami Dolphins organization, I find a way to influence that decision the best that I can, because I don't know anything about Tua as a competitor, but obviously you're playing in the NFL as a starting quarterback. You got a pretty big competitive chip on that shoulder, and I'm sure he personally still feels he has a ton to prove. He has an incredible offensive roster to help and get things done with.
Yeah.
But at some point, man, we put our pride aside. We think about the things that you just said. We think about our families. We think about our future. We think about our grandchildren down the line, and being, mentally there, and to be able to have the times you want to have with them. And so obviously you're a big family guy, myself included. And so there will be a lot of other takes on that matter.
Sure.
But if it's me, man, it's not even a question.
No,
it's just too much in too short a time.
I agree. And in general, for me, when I look at athletes in any sport, I mean, football, it's a little more rugged and whatever. You're kind of expected to play through stuff. I like when I see guys that take an extra time off. Like T. Higgins right now is getting roasted, and they're saying contract stuff. And I'm like, look, brother, I'd rather him take an extra week off and make sure he's good than play a game and be out for the season. So Tua, I'm like, you better be out for one game. I would tell you better be out for two, and then evaluate from there. Yes, it's his life and his decision, but I'm with you. I'm influencing you one way or the other. Like in our way, we're going to influence you to protect yourself.
Yeah.
So at a bare minimum, you need to take extended time off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking like a long time. You don't see you until next August at minimum, or at earliest. But yeah, it's a crazy deal. I definitely hate that for Tua. Hey, real quick, guys, we've got almost 150 in here. Shared a tweet on the timeline earlier. There is a young Aggie that is in need of a lot of help. I'm unfortunately not smart enough to add the link to this show here, but at 40 Acre Vibes, you see it on your screen. Please go to my timeline. You can scroll down. There are numerous other Longhorns, shout out guys who have posted about this. You have a very young Aggie who is waiting in a children's hospital in Cincinnati, waiting on a heart transplant. From what I can gather, and I apologize if this is wrong information, Theo has been there since June, and I just can't imagine the emotional stress and toll that family is going through, the weight on and pressure on them.
Yeah.
But so go find that tweet, please. There's a link to where you can purchase a shirt, a Team Theo shirt, which supports his the effort of him finding a new heart. And if you do anything today, man, please go support Theo and his family. It would mean a world just to me, and of course to his family and a lot of other people. Shout out Mr. Bain. This guy is a legend. This is the link right here. Go find it in the comments. Please click on this, man. More than anything else today, this takes precedent. I am committed to. We got to let people know there's a Facebook page, a Team Theo Facebook page. Go find that. We've had people in the DMs that are trying to reach out to family and contribute directly to them and help in whatever way they want to. So once again, with heavy emphasis, please, if you can, show some love to Theo, man. I can't imagine what the family's going through. God bless you guys. Definitely thinking and praying for you all. It's hard for me to talk about, but getting back to football a little bit here.
Thanks for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. He deserves that, man. Just God's gonna take care of Buddy for sure. But getting back to a little football, going down the road to Houston, okay, is there a part of you that is a little envious of what they're building over there? Or is it Cowboy fan in you is like, no, they're going to be the Texans who they've always been?
No, honestly, for sure, 100% nervous about what they're building because it's an in-state rival. And we're close to San Antonio. There's been rumors of the San Antonio team coming, so I'm like, do I switch my allegiance? Like, I'm tired of the crap, but no, like Cowboys through and through. But it's tough. But man, yeah, shout out to my friend Jacob Settler. He's a massive Texans fan. We've been hanging out, so we get to talk shop a little bit and go back and forth. It's fun, but they are truly doing something great. I love, can't say it enough. The head coach hire, like,
yeah,
come on, D'Amico. And then Stroud. I honestly didn't expect Stroud to be the one that shined, though. I will say that I'm surprised in a good way. I think he's great. I think he was great. I just didn't expect the play to be what it is. And the only negative I'll say that, yeah, the only thing I can think negative about them is an overloaded wide receiver room. I did not like the Diggs signing. I thought Tank and Nico were shining, and then you bring in a guy who's clearly emotional and still is. Like, that can ruin a lot of things. And I think Brian's is going to be great and kind of squashing stuff, but there's only so much you can do. And you got a young quarterback. Yes, you want to support him, but I don't know. That's the only thing I'm nervous about for them. But man, hats off to the Texans. I truly love to see them doing what they're doing. Of course, they have a short history. It's been a really interesting history, just in general, even going back to the Oiler days. But man, hats off to them. Love it. Jealous, envious for sure. Like, nothing but good things to say as a Cowboys fan for the Texans.
You made a comment earlier, that you can't win a Super Bowl with an average coach and an average quarterback. And Houston has neither of those. They are definitely CJ he's still a young quarterback who will make mistakes at times. There will still be a lot of growth for him, but he has a very high ceiling. And then obviously D'Amico is regarded as an absolutely A+ fantastic hire by everybody. I mean, he's a guy that it seems a lot of people want to play for. You talk about free agents, I mean, and some of these guys are deciding between one or two contenders. And hey, it's crazy to me to think about the Diggs deal. A wonderful talent, but at the same time, you got to keep everything cool in that locker room. We've seen how we saw how everything played out with him and Josh Allen at times. I know there was a preseason clip of him getting not getting into it with CJ, but they were having a healthy conversation. I'll say that.
There you go.
And so it's definitely curious to see how it works out. But with Tank Dell, Nico Collins, they added Joe Mixon, who this is funny because it's going to kind of play into something else. But they added Joe Mixon, he's a great running back, but hard for me to root for that guy just because of past indiscretions. But at the same time, nobody would be rooting for me the way they are either if I was judged off my past. So try to have an open heart. But he is a Sooner too, and that's tough. But so I'm going to go ahead. If there are any Texans watching this, I made a commitment to being a Texans fan this past spring, and I'll talk about that for a little bit. I've never really had an NFL team in the last 15 years after Jeff Fisher ran my guy Vince Young into the mud, and so any chance I can take to rag on Jeff Fisher and to talk a little shit on him, I'm gonna take that. And so I love Steve McNair. I loved Eddie George. I had a lot of family that were Cowboys fans, a lot of family that were Oilers fans. Obviously, late 90s, they make the move to Tennessee. I still have family that is rooting for them. They just hated Bud Adams. But they didn't let that get in the way of their love for the players. And so by nature, I was a huge Steve McNair fan, a huge Eddie George fan, Frank Wycheck, Javon Curse. I mean, those teams were a ton of fun. Obviously, the Super Bowl, they came up a yard short. Little me was really sad about that. But at the same time, I thought the Rams were really fun to watch. But and then, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be a Titans fan. Well, then McNair retires. And I'm like, okay, like that was most of my reasoning for, like, what do I have in common with the Tennessee Titans? I really like the quarterback that used to play in Houston. Well, then Vince Young comes. And I'm like, I was born to be a Titan. This was it. Born to be a Titan. And I should have known because Vince's second year there, I got tickets on my birthday to watch them play in Houston. And the week before they play, he gets hurt, hamstring issue, doesn't play in the game. So I have to go watch Kerry Collins for the Titans battle. I don't even remember Sage Rosenthal. I don't remember who the quarterback was for the Texans, but I should have known it was all, it wasn't going to work out then. And so obviously Fisher, Young, a lot of things happened, and immediately after I'm done with Jeff Fisher. I'm done with the Titans, everything about it. No disrespect to I just hated Jeff Fisher. I hope they do well now. But I felt like I was missing something. I have my Saturday commitment. I bleed, burn orange. I live, breathe, and die the horns all day, every day, really. Not just Saturdays, but on Sundays, I'm trying to get out of fantasy a little bit. I say that as I'm playing 5 leagues, and I'm pretty sure begged you to play in a league to help complete it.
Come on.
But and then I just told you I didn't even set lineups for week 1. So obviously I'm not the guy I once was, but I wanted a team to root for. There's a ton of fun talent. There's a ton of fun coaches. I love football. I just have never committed to anybody. Don't like the Cowboys, and that's who everybody in the state roots for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And but me, I made this commitment, and I'm not a Houston sports fan whatsoever. Rockets, probably my least favorite NBA team. Astros, probably my least favorite organization in all of sports. And not to be hard on you Houston guys. I mean, y'all won 2 rings. The Rockets have a great history. It is what it is. I'm not a Mavs or Spurs fan either, if that helps. But Yeah, so I made that commitment. I had a little peer pressure. I even put up a poll saying who should I root for. I gave my 3 finalists, the 3 teams I could see myself rooting for. Obviously, the Texans crushed that poll. I felt good about it. And then I try to watch week 1. I try to be a fan. I try to sit there and say, like, this is my squad. These are my boys. And I just there's no emotional connection. It's not there. There's no tie-in. I like CJ as a quarterback. Went to Ohio State. Don't love the Buckeyes, so it's like my first time actually like rooting for the guy. I love D'Amico Ryans. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't real. It wasn't authentic. But then, which they were one of my finalists. Then I turn on Sunday Night Football, and I see that beautiful blue in Detroit. I hear the Lions fans in the dome.
Oh man!
And quickly, I am like, guys, I've made a mistake. I need to address this. I'm telling Kayla, I kind of fucked up here.
Getting the family involved.
I got in over my head, and I made a commitment that I wasn't ready to make. And so, nothing against the Texans. I'm not a bandwagoner. I mean, like you're 1-0, and I'm just like I hope you do great. But my prediction is Detroit over Houston in the Super Bowl. That was before I switched. Before I switched sides. But yeah. So apologies to anybody for that. That's not a way that I normally operate. I'm trying to figure myself out with my NFL fandom. And with that being said, Coach Dan Campbell, I can't say that, but one pride, baby. So,
no. Well, you bring up a good point though. Let's go down this real quick. You take out, you're a great example. You take out history and everything. I just had this conversation, and I'll key in on your Longhorns again. I know we're talking NFL, but there's a gentleman that works with my wife, and he's from California, moved here, took a job at a local church. He's teaching as well, like great guy.
Yeah.
And so we're talking sports a little bit, and he's like, yeah, I don't really care. I'm from California. Like, if anything, I'm a USC fan. So he's not a big sports guy in general. He said, but somebody took me to a Longhorns game, and I'm sold. I'm like, okay, so that's your tie-in. He went to DKR, and I get it. But he said, maybe if I went to Kyle Field, it'd be the same thing. It's like, I don't know. You probably see a loss, but that's okay. It's historically, it's like 67% winning percentage. Like, we don't have – anyways. So the NFL, man. If you come like this guy, like yourself, from the outside today, and you're just like, I want to pick a team to root for and truly jump on board with, who are you going to pick? It's probably not going to be the Cowboys because of the bad media we get. You're maybe Chiefs, 49ers, Lions, like wild card, or the Texans. Yeah. Like who else could it be? Like as an outsider.
And I feel terrible for that because that does still seem kind of bandwagonish, you know? It's
no. I mean, I love what the Lions are doing.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you know, but and my issue is like I want to root for them post this regime, post this quarterback era. But I love the style of football. Maybe I'll never be a true Lions fan. Maybe not. I am from Teague, Texas, home of the Lions. Different shade of color over there. But I don't know. The very first NFL hat I got in 98 or 99 for my birthday. Uncle Kevin, shout out, hooked me up with a sweet Detroit Lion lid. Because I was a massive Barry Sanders fan back in the day, as was everybody else. I'll never forget this. So I used to play. The very first console I ever had was the first PlayStation, and I can't remember the name of like the game that used to come out, the NFL game. It wasn't Madden back then. It was
2K or
this is like 1996, man.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, it was NFL something, but maybe Madden did exist at that time. I'm sure it did. I didn't know, and so that's the NFL game I had, but. So I would use the Lions because my uncle was a huge Barry Sanders fan, and he's the one that kind of put me on him as a child. And everyone that's followed this channel knows whatsoever that from about 5 or 6 years old, like, I mean, I am a junkie, a sports nut, man. Like you have no idea. I have friends that I have been told is a little too much, or I'm a little bit too much into sports, and should probably go learn a few other things. But I mean, I was all about it, and I used to play that game religiously. And we're playing in the Silverdome as the Lions as a home team, and I would just run Barry every single play. And about half the games, he would leave the game permanently because he was paralyzed by lightning strike. That was an actual feature in that game. They would fall to the ground.
Oh man!
And they would say that they're paralyzed by lightning strike, and they'd be out for the rest of the game. And so
we need a clip of that. Somebody's got to dig up a clip.
I will do my best to find it, because
that's solid.
Old me looking back at that is like, God dang, man. But yeah, so I am fully committing right here, right now. It's one pride. Let's go Lions. I'll have to learn some other stuff. So Lexi, Fancy, Savannah, Go Blue crew. I know me and my Michigan friends just kind of had a fun last 2 weeks together, and some good relationships came from that. I appreciate all you Michigan fans for being so dang cool. Y'all let us have our fun post game without taking it, to heart or anything. Y'all. I even think some of you guys, enjoyed some of the memes and gifs and everything else that were going around. But hey, we're united now. We're together on Sundays, and so. Yeah, I hope they accept me. They've been pretty kind about it. I did have Lexi. I know she was very disappointed with me in the spring for choosing the Texans, and so to know that they're like, hey, we all make mistakes. You can come home, which home for me is like 21-hour drive north now. But hey, I'll get up there. I'll see a game. Texans will come, the Lions will come to Dallas. They'll come to Houston, and so that was the thing I was worried about, was not being able to watch them play. And like Houston's right down the road, but.
Yeah,
I'm not built for it, buddy. But all right, let's do this. Give me a bold prediction or two for this NFL season.
Yeah, so we'll go all the way to the end. It's talking about your Lions, and yeah, you brought it up, and I truly like them. I think this is what's going to happen. Here's my opinion: Super Bowl, Chiefs, Lions, 40-30. Chiefs are going to get the three-peat. Like we all watched.
Okay.
We all watched that Chiefs-Ravens game. I mean, come on. Illegal shift that many times. Like, that ain't going to happen. So, Chiefs are like, call it what you want. Refs are on their side. Goodell's on their side. Like, no, I'll joke. Kind of is what it feels like. So, Chiefs over Lions, 40-30. Lions are going to do good. And then even longer than that, I think Lions get back next year and win it. So, that's a big prediction.
I like it, man. I mean, they're the Kings.
Yeah.
Until you take the Kings down, that's what they are. And they got the power of Taylor Swift. They've got the power of the
come on
official. No, I'm just kidding. Kansas City. I mean, to know that they have Xavier is tough for me, because I love Xavier so much. Spent about 3 minutes talking with him during the Texas OU basketball game, and there's a lot of people that have a lot of opinions of Xavier Worthy. I think he is a kid that is going to ball out. He is very hungry, very fixated on producing. And I'll say that there's people that want to use that as a complaint about him. I think is a high quality part of him and why he is who he is. And so did you see the comments from I can't remember which Bengal player made the comments about Xavier a couple of days back?
Well, I don't remember exactly. I remember reading it. I couldn't tell you what it was.
He just said he was straight line fast. He said he was straight line fast and not much more. And so I'm curious to see what Andy Reid draws up, because knowing the Chiefs and how they do things, I think they'll make it a point of emphasis to kind of I don't know, let that backfire in that young man's face. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Worthy score again. It is weird for me because I, like yourself, I want parity. I'm big on parity, unless it's college football. I hope we beat everybody by 100 every single Saturday. But at the same time, parity is beautiful for sports. And so give me somebody else. Give me somebody else.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you, though, but I love Worthy. And so that's a big prediction. Another one, as a Cowboys fan, I think Dak and CD will lead in both passing and receiving yards, but not touchdowns.
Okay.
I feel pretty confident about that. barring an injury. I think that's going to happen. The tough one for me, I'm trying to think position-wise, like running back, who would be the top runner this year? Like, unfortunately. And I'm glad I didn't draft him because the 2 years in a row I did. That's what happened. I hope he gets better, of course. But, man, and then I drafted Eckler last year. And so top running back in the league, it's like, it's not going to be Derrick Henry. I don't think he's going to get the touches. Justice Hill is going to take a lot. Bold claim. I think the leading rusher this year will have 1,100 yards, and I think it'll be J.K. Dobbins.
Hey,
I think he's going to come up. So
huge week one.
I just think he's going to settle in and take off. He's going to have slow games, but shout out to LaGrange Leopards. Like, come on,
dude. He broke my heart a little bit. He broke my heart a little bit with his comments over the week, talking about, being from Texas and going to Ohio State, obviously, but how he's a little bit of a Longhorn, but always, through and through a Buckeye. And I'm like, buddy, you had your chance to be a Longhorn. I'm sorry that Tom Herman kind of blew it, but I mean, you could have been a Horn. Great player.
Poor guy.
Loved him in Baltimore. Health is an issue at times, but I think it's really important that he's paired with Jim Harbaugh, who's always going to run the ball damn well. Every team he's ever had has been capable of running the football. Going back to Stanford, all the way now to the Chargers. They will be able to run the ball. Still have a good quarterback, so I mean that helps. In the run game, you have to stay aware of a good run, a good passing attack. And so, that's a fun pick. I like that. I haven't really thought about a leading rusher or leading passer. I do like Jaden Daniels as rookie of the year a pretty good bit. I think that they're going to accept that it is going to be a learning curve. It's going to be a multi-year rebuild. They are not going to, overtake Philly and Dallas in one season, maybe 2 seasons times. But I think he's a player that you can do a lot of good things with. And so fun to watch him. I think they'll build around him. That season at LSU last year, I know you're talking about college ball, but man, it was a blast to watch. I think that, he'll produce big, stay healthy, hopefully. I like Jaden a little bit. I know he showed some flashes in week 1 there. Got a long ways to go, but at the same time,
let me set you up for a little trap here. I'm curious what you're going to say. I have my answer in my head, and this is why we're talking bold predictions. So I want to fast forward through the season, beyond the Super Bowl. Let's get to the draft.
Okay.
Everybody's making predictions already. First quarterback taken. Who is it?
Quinn Ewers. Yeah.
That's
because and I understand like why you would say trap. But I don't know if you watched any of I don't know if you've watched any of my prediction shows. I don't know if you've watched some of the recent talk we've had about this whole thing, but Quinn is going to be absolutely relied on like big time this year, especially when we get into the meat of the schedule.
Dude is good.
Yeah. He's a good player. And the best thing about Quinn is that he is handling a pretty high level RPO system. He's doing it with ease. I know that Carson Beck is out there. I know that Shedeur Sanders is out there. When you tie in everything, and I'm not going to knock a kid, even though I kind of want to. When you tie in character, when you tie in ability, when you tie in the scheme that they've used and they've adopted, being NFL ready, being able to make all the throws, having a big arm, I don't think I've seen enough out of Carson Beck. I have Georgia missing the playoffs this year. I have Carson. Carson Beck being part of a sorry. Wow, that was a bad comment. I have Georgia missing the SEC championship game. I have them dropping 2 regular season games. Because I just need to see that more out of Carson Beck.
Sure.
Talking about power run game, big offensive line, Brock Bowers, Ladd McConkey. They've had weapons, brother. Okay, let me see you do it with your arm. Let me see you have to go beat an Alabama, Texas using your arm. And so if we see that, I could have a completely different answer. But my issue with Quinn is durability. He's been banged up multiple times. Now, last year he got banged up in the Houston game. He put his shoulder down at a time where he shouldn't have done it. Not comparing it to Tua, but a situation like that. And I I don't think it will be Shadur. I know that there will probably be a ton of pushing and Dion influencing. I don't know how much weight that holds, but I'm expecting Quinn with our running back situation, and who, let me tell you this, our third string running back Jarrett Gibson has been a hoss, and so a lot of people for Texas were worried when we lost two of our top 4 on the depth chart. I personally like the number 4 Christian Clark better than I like Jarrett as far as impact on the field this year, and Jarrett quickly shut me up. Is balling out there, but point being, I think that we're going to have to rely on Quinn heavily. Quinn is going to have a very good shot at winning the Heisman. He will be in New York because of scheme. Yeah. We're going to have to use Quinn. If you look at the first half of the Michigan game, he threw for 200 yards. We didn't need him to do anything in the second half, and he finished with like 60 or 70 yards. I think, we're going to be a good team that scores a lot of points. We're going to ride 3 to death. And Quinn seems to say and do all the right things. I mean, people laugh and joke about him making comments at like SEC media days about Texas being everyone's big game. Like, he's not trying to slide anyone. He's not trying to rile anyone up. He's talking to his program. This is a reminder of, like, that's all that is. And people can't see through that, and they want to knock Quinn and dog Quinn, call Quinn cocky, arrogant, yada yada. That dude is a humble cat that loves his team. And I'm just, like you said, you're talking about NFL draft, and they're going to look at it. They're going to unturn every stone. They're going to know everything, which they already do. But we tie it all in. I mean, I feel really good about Quinn having a shot to be the first quarterback taken, but I feel even better about him holding and hoisting the Heisman Trophy this year. I think we have a lot of talent to help him get there.
I'm with you, and that's why, you got me. I say it's a trap because a lot of people are thinking Shadur is going to be top quarterback taken, and we're drifting into college a little bit, but it matters for the NFL conversation. But look, I think Shadur's great. There's one specific play, I think it was the North Dakota State game, where he boots out and like guys are collapsing in on him, and he does exactly what he's supposed to do. He just stops, plants, and like throws a dart and gets hit. Like that play, I was like, all right, like you're pretty good. He's done others, but character and your dad's hype train. So that's why I think Quinn is going to be number 1. But Quinn is still really good. There's no doubt. So getting back to the NFL, now the question is, which team is going to get him? I think the Giants are going to take him.
It seems to be a thing they're wanting to do. One more point I'll make on Quinn real quick is that this is one that's becoming very evident to a lot of people now. 2022, Bama comes to Austin. Quinn absolutely dials them up in the first half. Dices them up in the first quarter before he goes out. I think he was, what was he? He was like 6 of 8 or 8 of 10 for 100 yards in the first quarter against Alabama. Gets hurt. 2023, we go to Alabama. Quinn was brilliant. Quinn was awesome. Doesn't throw a pick. Quinn made some mistakes in the Oklahoma game and then completed 24 straight passes at one point. Yeah. Quinn was excellent in the Washington game. We fumbled the football twice in the third quarter. That's why we lost that game, not because of Quinn Ewers. Go to 2024, Texas at Michigan. Quinn throws for 200 in the first half, makes it look easy, doesn't force anything, no turnovers. So I'm bringing those games up because why? Those are big football games for Texas. Those are big football games for Quinn. There has been moments where a couple Big 12 opponents, Wyoming, Iowa State game in particular 2 years ago, where he's looked very human and not the same guy. But those scouts are going to look at those big-time games that are littered with NFL defensive players, and they're going to be like, okay. Now, Shadur Sanders, with all due respect, brother, Pac-12 football, Big 12 football. I am not knocking the kid. I'm just saying I got to see it against better talent. He is a fantastic player, man. He's a stud. Yeah. Like I'm not dogging. There's no way around that. I'm just to compare those two. Now you're talking about what team gets Quinn. I don't know which team gets Quinn, but I can tell you there's probably about 10 teams that I pray every day do not get Quinn.
That doesn't get him.
I don't want to see him in the mud. I don't want to see him stuck up north in the cold, throwing the football, 30 times around in the cold. But hey, he's gonna be fine. And like I said, he's so clever and so good in the RPO game. He's very good now at manipulating defenders with his eyes. We've seen some no-look passage, which honestly scares the shit out of me a little bit. But I mean, he's made it work. And so credit to Quinn, man. I'm very impressed. this is going to be a conversation that's really fun to have at the end of the year for Texas fans, but I can't wait for it. We've had a little talk about it before the season, but I can't wait for the season to wrap up. When we finish completely, we get through the playoffs, we figure out, where we finish, and to have the talk about where Quinn falls on the all-time Texas quarterback ranking list. Because I'll being very honest, I wasn't as high I didn't have him as high on my list as most people did, maybe spring and summer, but I'm feeling really good about where he's at and about the chances at a big season. Now, obviously there's several big games on there, but not to get us too far down the road in the college ball. But yeah, man, I wouldn't want him to go to New York. That would be tough.
I would.
It would be hard to watch. I don't have an issue with I root for the Giants twice a year. Now, don't get me wrong. There's two games a year where I'm rooting for the G-Man, which it never works out the way I want it to. I swear, man. If I'm not watching that game, I look at the score. Y'all are up 17 in the third. If I am watching that game, it's like 24-0 at half, and I'm like, well, this is a waste of a Sunday. But I don't know. Do you have any ideas or guesses on? You said New York. Anybody else that you think might try to dial it in on Quinn?
So what I thought was going to happen as a Cowboys fan, I really thought Jerry Jones would dig his heels in and say, we're not paying Dak. Let him hit free agency and somebody else will overpay him. I really thought we would hit the draft and make a crazy move, and I was hoping for somebody like a Quinn. I don't think we'd be in a place to draft top 5, top 10.
No, right.
But you're going after, well, they probably would have went for Shadur, if I'm being honest. Even then, I'll take him. Put a guy like that on our team, like, let's go. So that's really what I thought was going to happen. Something like that, crazy, but obviously not going to happen. So
let me ask you this.
Yeah.
And you don't have to divulge more than you want to, but like, is there any part of you that has concerns with Shador's character? And I'm not, he's a kid, I'm not, no child or no kid has it all figured out, by now. Very rarely do they, but the kind of the blaming his O-line talk after the Nebraska game. Did you see any of those clips? If so, do you have any thoughts on that? Yeah.
Yeah, and I've got a lot of thoughts, and we both operate the same way. Like, we're not going to publicly trash people. Even privately, we try to be careful, maybe half joking stuff. Like, yeah, these are college kids. They're learning. They're in different situations, but also let them have some fun. Like, this is your time to do it. I love a good little trash talk sometimes, but I'm not okay with walking off the field early. I'm not okay with you trashing your team. I was okay with him. If you saw the comments about, Nebraska, they were essentially dogging on him with the wristwatch and stuff.
Yeah.
Aging myself saying a wristwatch. Good Lord. Oh man, I'm not even that old. So he came back and was like, nah, basically good for them. Like, they got their win. They should be able to say that. I'm like, all right, like, that was a good step. You didn't just come out and trash them. You took it in the chest and said, yeah, like, bring it on kind of thing.
Right.
So he has some signs, but also when your dad is who he is and operating the way he is, it's almost like good luck, brother. Like, you're kind of destined for failure. And then you've also got what I feel like is the forgotten brother who's literally just taking shots at people's heads every week, just trying to make a name for himself. Like,
yep.
Come on, the family dynamics there are interesting.
It is, man, and I've gotten a little bit of flack on the timeline for saying that I kind of hope they struggle a little bit, and I don't say that out of disrespect for Colorado football. I love Colorado football. Folsom Field is a beautiful place to watch a college football game. An elite place to watch a college football game. Go check that backdrop out one time, and you'll never want to leave. Yeah. I would like for Colorado to be relevant in college football. I just hate that they have kind of gone the route that they have to try and do so. And it's not I don't have an issue with Dion. It's just like, I know how you are. Humility for me is a very important trait in people, and things can change for a person very, very fast. Life can turn. And obviously Dion's got an incredible track record of knowing football. And obviously you go and look at his career, a guy I rooted for a long time. I mean, prime is prime. There were things he did in the kick return game, and obviously a cornerback, just a guy that was in his own world at the time. And so mad respect to the guy and everything. It's just like, man, I just if the 6 or 7 straight conference losses didn't humble us a lot last year, and it's a lot of
Yeah.
It's excuse making. It's, like, I just need them
So
to be like, let's go figure it out.
here's what this just came to me. Like the Lord just spoke to me. I was like, all right, Dion, what's his career path going to be? I'm sitting here trying to figure this out as you're talking. No NFL team is going to want to touch that. Like I mean, you're Jerry Jones as a coach. Like that's what you're, just this polarizing figure that hot takes, whatever. And yes, you do some great things. Hats off. Like Colorado has improved a lot of stuff because of the money that has come in and whatever. Love it. They got theirs kind of deal. But that you can only ride that dog and pony show for so long. 4 years, 5 years. I'm sitting here thinking, what other coach does that? Deion Sanders, here's my soundbite. Deion Sanders is just a more polarizing Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is a better football coach.
Lane Kiffin's a better football coach.
And Deion is just like a more heightened version of him. Like the personality, the hot takes, going different places because people get tired of you. So he'll be gone in maybe this year, 2 years. He'll go somewhere else. He'll do it again, and he'll just keep doing it. And maybe he'll catch a break, like Ole Miss looking good, whatever. But yeah, like that's my thing on it.
I asked, I did a poll backing you up.
That's a good question.
That is a good question, man. And here's the thing. I don't think it'll necessarily be all his own doing or his own choice, Mr. Bain. My thinking is following along the lines with Jonathan here, is you can only get away with this whole bit for so long before it just takes a couple of regions, a couple of guys. Now, here's the thing. It's very difficult because he's done incredible things for the university from a financial standpoint, from an exposure standpoint. The buy-in just from boosters, regents, alumni in Colorado is at an all-time high. And so as you knock some of the on-the-field stuff, some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, you have to tip your hat to that. And that is a huge part of it. And so big respect to him for that. But at the same time, man, I don't know how long they're going to buy that whole bit. And so I would guess that he is gone. I think that he might know that it's time to move on is what I'll say. And yeah, maybe he wants to go fully, but maybe he doesn't. It's hard to see me hanging out in Colorado. I was going to say, I kind of caught some hell on the timeline because I think I said, what's the over under on Prime at Colorado? How many years? And I listed it at 2.5. So obviously I didn't have a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
And it most it was 3.5, but I really think it was 2.5. And I had a lot of Colorado fans kind of chirping at me, and it's just like, all right, man. And then when they go 2-0 to start the year, they beat TCU and Nebraska. I was like, okay, all right. But yeah, it changed quickly, and that schedule's it's going to be tough on Colorado. Those Big 12 coaches can scheme the absolute hell out of you, and I'm curious to see how they all stack up there. But just a few minutes left for you, man. I know we talked a little about NFL. You predicted a Cowboys, NFC East championship. You think 12, 13 wins. Let me get back down to the college level just a moment. I'm not trying to rag on your guys.
All good.
Do you have expectations out of A&M this year? I know that, obviously you lose your opener to a Notre Dame game, which looks worse now because they're lost to Northern Illinois. But maybe just your thoughts on Coach Elko and the 2024 season for A&M, if you have those ready.
Yeah, I did not expect Elko to get hired. I try to follow A&M stuff pretty closely and not quite as tight like you are with Texas, so I'm trying to get there. But the names that I was seeing drop, I didn't think it'd be him. I like the hire. I really do. I liked him when he was at A&M. Obviously didn't pan out the way we all wanted. I like his personality. I like some of the minor shifts I'm seeing in general, just culture and some stuff like that.
Yeah.
But again, kind of like the Cowboys, it's A&M. Like I just can't look at the first game. How many people are like A&M, Notre Dame's overrated or this and that, and then, yeah, right. Me too. Yeah, like a lot of us were, rightfully so,
screaming it.
Yeah, and then hats off to Notre Dame, and then of course I was just about to bring that up. NIU just came out and walloped them, so it makes us look like idiots. Like if NIU can do this, like this isn't, what was it, like early 2010 days? What was that quarterback's name? And they just had a dog who was putting up like 2K passing, 2K rushing, or whatever for NIU. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
And they
I
had
know
a
they
few
had.
guys.
Yeah, they've had some players.
Yeah.
God, the name's escaping me, but it's tough, man. I know that losing to Notre
Yep.
Dame, it hurt a little bit, but then to watch Notre Dame lose to Northern Illinois,
There
probably
it is.
there it is,
Jordan
Jordan
Lynch.
Lynch,
I
Mr.
didn't want to.
Bain.
I was thinking Lynch. I forgot Jordan, so shout out to Bain. Appreciate that. But yeah, so honest take on them. We talked about this a little bit. Garrett Wolf, man, yeah, these
I loved
throwbacks,
loved
love
Garrett
it.
Wolf, man. They played in the what was it,
Gosh,
the Fiesta Bowl against Florida State, and I was just like, they're gonna hang around, they're gonna do this, they're gonna go in there and shock the world, and Florida State beat
man,
the piss out of them, man. That was hard to watch. But Mr.
yeah,
Bain, White Iverson, everyone that's been in the comments, appreciate you guys being here. I know it's a
yeah,
little early on a Friday, so big thanks to you guys checking in. Yeah, man. Real quick, I'll touch on your Aggies. I just think that they're a little too high of expectations too soon. Culture is not an easy thing to flip overnight. It's
yep,
going to take time. You look at Sark flipping Texas's culture; it took multi-years to get that done, and it's just part of it, man. You want a guy that's willing to go in there, kind of scrape it to the bedrock, start all over, and get things done. But he was at A&M, so he already has an idea about
he
the fan
knows
support, the alumni, the recruiting capabilities the school has when they're rolling. Obviously, he was a part of the big class they had. But yeah, man, I just think it's not going to be a 1 or 2 year deal. Obviously, A&M just. I believe they don't know who's starting at quarterback tomorrow.
oh gosh, yeah,
It's a whole other mess. But I just had to ask you, dear friend. I value your opinion on that. And so, yeah, guys, if you,
9 wins.
hey, that would be a
There it is.
fantastic year. That'd be a
Yep,
fantastic year. With that schedule, I think it's fully possible because I think you do have a good defense,
yeah,
um, a very good defense potentially. But we'll see once you get into some of the better opponents on the schedule. Missouri game is going to be a massive one. There we go. Marcel
yeah.
showing out. Marcel reading it.
Look,
Hope.
real quick, little. I don't even know what you call this little tidbit. My uncle helped coach Connor Wegman, so I have a little extra ties to him. And I have heard some. I won't publicly drop this information, but I've heard some stuff, and I'm not a Wegman fan, so I am all in on Marcel. I'll just say
Okay.
that.
All right. Well, I had no idea about that, and you hear a lot of Aggies screaming, dark horse for the Heisman, a lot of different things, and so it is interesting to hear the different side of opinion on Connor, but
Yep.
I think it'll be okay for the Aggies under Elko in the end. You're gonna have to obviously figure out the quarterback position. Got to get your O line straight. The obvious things are gonna make an offense go because Elko's gonna be able to coach defense. He's gonna have good defenses over
Oh yeah.
there, and he'll recruit good defensive talent. He's shown he can do that,
Yeah.
and you'll have a good defense to hang your hat on this year, in which he'll be able to sell that to recruits. So
For sure.
9 wins would be a fantastic year. Missouri game coming up in a couple of weeks is going to be huge, but I'm definitely interested to see how Florida plays out tomorrow. Guys, got says a little over 200 here watching. Please, if you don't mind, most of you are on Twitter. Please go to the link in my profile, follow it to the channel, subscribe to the channel, like this video, show Jonathan some love. We're gonna hopefully be doing this once a week, bringing you guys some NFL chat. See how my Lions are doing. My long loved Lions, and keep you guys updated with that. But go like the channel, subscribe, please. We're gonna have 2 more shows today. We've got the Florida and A&M breakdown with Drew TAMU, very big presence on YouTube, Twitter as well. He'll be on at 6:30 to break down Florida and A&M, and then at 7:30 we've got the Texas and UTSA pregame show with the boys. That'll be a great time. But yeah, go subscribe, man. We're putting out a lot of content. We're trying to build it up. We got a lot of fun guests coming on. Got one quarterback recruit coming on in the next 2 weeks. Got one. We got a Longhorn NFL alumni coming on in a couple weeks as well. And so a lot of big things planned, man. Current day NFL player coming on as soon as he has time. I know that's kind of like a tease, but as soon as he has time, like, we are working hard. I promise you that. I'm doing a lot of things to get you guys some fun content, some fun guests. Obviously, last night we had Kyle Lang and Travis Davidson on. Those guys are brothers, just like Jonathan. So this is easy for me. It's talking with great friends about ball. I really hope y'all are all enjoying it. But please go show some love to the channel. And then the most important thing about today, let me get back up here and find it. Mr. Bain, if you don't mind, I don't know why it's not letting me go through the comments. Oh, there we go. All right, Mr. Bain. Once again, God bless you for being in these comments, brother. You've been awesome.
Yeah.
Go click on this link, guys. This is very important to me and to a ton of Aggies, and most importantly to Theo and his family. Buddy needs a new heart. That's the gist of it. I'm not going to get into the details. Go click this link. Go support. Help this kid out. Read his story. Give them prayers. Whatever thing you do it for them. Okay. Like seriously, this link is all over Twitter. You can, if you're a Longhorn watching this that cares about NFL, Kyle Lang, Fancy, myself, Lacey, several people have trying to help. Okay, so get that out, retweet it, as many fans as possible. It's a real life situation. College football is important to us all. NFL football is important. This takes big time precedent over that. So before you get into it all, go help out if you can. It's a maroon shirt. Get the hell over it, man. Have a good time with it. Go support Theo. It's got his name and a big heart on there. So yeah, man, do that for us, please. Would mean a ton. It really would. Brother Jonathan, before I let you out of here, do you have anything you'd like to close with, my man?
Oh man, it's been fun talking. Definitely shout out to Theo and his family. That's tough. So thanks for sharing that. Keep putting out good content. And man, people watching, like this doesn't happen without you guys. So if there's any hot takes or questions, like the Dion stuff, ask it, whatever. It's fun. Yeah. So let's make it interactive.
Yeah, the chat makes it everything, guys. So it really means a ton for you all to be here. Hope to see you all again later on today. But as for that, I guess I'll sign off with a let's go Lions or a one pride.
Oh, we them boys.
Hey, you crank up the theme music, but
right.
that's Dion's thing. Sorry.
There you go.
But all right, Jonathan, I'll let you out of here, guys. Thank you for watching.
Thanks,
We'll
brother.
see you.